What's up, guys? Just reading something really cool that hopefully it's a good sign that things can change. And this is regarding being able to identify folks that have CTE. Forget what that acronym is for, but it's for those. Of course, I have, because I've had concussions. Those that have had multiple concussions, maybe even just one, but their brain starts degenerating because of the fact that they've had some type of brain injury in the past, particularly folks that do contact sports, like your football, hell, even like our jiu-jitsu, okay, and any type of martial arts for that matter. I received a concussion in jiu-jitsu, and these things happen. But the problem was, science could not identify people that had CTE unless that person was dead, until they did an autopsy and looked at the brain and could see that the brain had deteriorated. There's no way to know, but I see there's something kind of cool, hopefully promising. This should be good news. But let me read this to you. All right, where am I? The Boston-based researchers who have pioneered the identification of CTE in contact sport athletes said they may have found a way to recognize the degenerative brain disease in people while they're still alive. Researchers from Boston University School of Medicine have identified an inflammatory protein circulating in the spinal fluid that may reflect the presence of CTE in patients' brains. The telltale protein, called CLL11, that's Charlie Lima Lima 11, appears likely to make its way into the bloodstream, where it might readily reveal the presence of degenerative process akin to premature aging in the brain. All right, I'm going to leave the article below. Check out the whole thing from the LA Times. This would be really good news, guys, for sure. This is something that's like any other disease. You want to be. This is the first step to having diagnoses of people, and not wait until they're gone. And then hopefully it also lead to things, hopefully may be able to offer some cure, maybe not some cure, some ways to slow down the progression of this degenerate thing. The way I understand how this works, when your brain's, let's assume if they're absolutely 100% correct, the brain starts breaking down. And when it breaks down, it breaks down to that protein CLL11, and it's I guess that's the only place. The only time it's done is when your brain starts breaking down. That's when that protein's formed. So then it's sent when it gets to the bloodstream or the spinal fluid, wherever it was. If it's in there, then they can see it. Just kind of like, this is similar to if people are familiar with like heart attack victims. When your heart, if someone's having a heart attack, and say like a mild one, things like that, you don't know if the person's still having that heart attack. What they do, your heart's made of cardiac muscle. When your heart's having a heart attack, your heart's, at least a portion of it's dying. It starts breaking down the heart muscle, the cardiac muscle. What happens then is, when it breaks down, you can then find the traces of the cardiac, the protein, that particular protein of the cardiac muscle in the person's bloodstream. So it's a lot of this. So say if if the person has a heart attack, they're going to keep you in the hospital until they find that that protein is actually no longer in your bloodstream, or at least leaving your bloodstream, and it has stopped, at least increasing. So that's kind of a similar. That's how I'm interpreting this, at least. I mean, completely. If I can be completely wrong, please, someone that has more of a medical background than me. I mean, I'm just a person. I have a degree in exercise science, but obviously people are a lot more educated than I am. Let's hear it. But that's how I interpret it, guys. Anyways, this is something that's real important. Obviously, we do a sport like jiu-jitsu. It's not like it's never intentional, obviously, in our sport, or for most sports, really, for that matter. But to any type of head contact and head trauma. But let's face it, right? I mean, bad things happen, and things, collisions happen. You have people that strong athletic people, collisions. I've had some collisions just going for takedowns. Caught a knee in the head one time. Another one too. I got taken down and my head just smacked against the floor. That's how I got that. That's how I got the last one, or whatever. So it happens. It's unavoidable. But the thing is too, something like this out there, you know, if I have a blood taken and the guys, you know, and we can at least measure the progress of CTE, for instance, at least you have a better idea of when you got to knock off a sport, when you can't do it, when you can't risk it anymore. That's important, and it's important for all contact athletes, the NFLers as well. They're probably the most well-known people with head injuries these days. You know, it's when it would make a big difference. A person trying to decide how long they should continue their career. If they all of a sudden, you know, they're 26 years old, you know, they get their blood taken every year, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, looks like, you know, we found this trace in your body, and if more head trauma will progress this degenerative disease of the brain. So, you know, that would indicate to the person to retire. So, good stuff, guys. Hey, all of us in contact sports, you know, all brothers together in a way, for sure. You know, that's the way we like to live, and that's the way, you know, just got to get that out of your system. But let's, you know, I don't want to, and I don't think anyone really wants to die. You know, let's face it, with some, you know, just a really mentally incapacitated way. So, anyway, guys, hey, check that whole article out, okay? We'll talk to you soon. If you have yet to subscribe to my channel, do that. Ooosss.